Hi, so in this video I'm just going to run through the video features of my notebook and some of the MIDI features. Being able to play back video synced to your backing track was probably the main reason we developed the app. There's plenty of apps out there that can play back some form of backing tracks, and previously I'd run backing tracks in Ableton, I'd run backing tracks in MainStage, I'd run them on iPad apps, and they were fine. But a year or two ago, my main 80s band started playing regular gigs at a venue that had this most fantastic video screen. We had a giant video wall behind us, and we had great fun playing all sorts of crazy videos up on this. But it wasn't integrated into a backing track system, so the sync system was that Jeff, our sound guy, pressed play on the video round about the same time as he heard the count in, and we kind of hoped that they were more or less in sync, which was fine. But I wanted something better where the whole thing, I could just solve the whole problem in one go. So working with videos is essentially trivial. All we have to do is just select a file. So here we've got the video area, and then so select file, and I'm just going to say medieval ruins. And now when I play, the video plays. But we need to be a little bit more accurate than that, because inevitably our backing track is always going to have a count in. That's one of the reasons we're using the app, so that we can have a count in our ears, usually 2 bars, to give everyone a clue of when they want to come in. So here I press play, my video starts, and then mysteriously a few seconds later, so even though they are starting in sync, it doesn't look like they're starting in sync. So we can put a delay in here. So if I put in a, say, 2-second delay, now when I press play, the video starts 2 seconds later. Now that's actually not. I've done this video a few times before. I know that I need this to be 1.4, and so if I use a delay of 1.4 for this particular backing track, the video starts playing at the exact moment the music comes in. Now obviously I don't want this in here. It's not a lot of use having it playing in here, so I can either press the full screen button or Command F, and it takes it full screen. So it disappears out here, and it's appeared on my other monitor. If I exit full screen, I can demo that if I just pop over to here. I've now dragged this off screen, bring this full screen, and when I press play, perfect synced video. This is all you need if you're actually sensible enough and planned ahead enough to edit beautiful videos that are actually synced to all of your songs. But maybe you just want to throw something in the background, maybe just some spinny band logo or something, in which case you probably not, it's not going to exactly match, in this case, the 4 minutes 31 seconds of the track. So if we just hit loop video, when the video runs out, it'll just go back and start playing from the beginning again, and it'll loop indefinitely. So if you just want some logo or some abstract animation to kind of give some movement up behind your performance, that's all we need, and that's it. Video's dead easy. MIDI is a whole other bunch of stuff. Basically, there are currently sort of 3 MIDI features. The simplest is entirely automatic. If I go to settings, you can see I've got the option to send a MIDI start or a MIDI stop. Start and stop messages basically just say to the MIDI equipment go and end. So when I press play, it'll send a start message. When I press stop or pause, it'll send a stop or a pause message. If I press play again, it'll send a resume message. This goes to all MIDI outputs, and so if you had some external video player, you can just, or some external sequencer, it will kick it in. You'll still need something on the external end to adjust that delay again if it's needed. The next feature is the patch change. So for each song, I can select a patch. So I'm around 0, 1, 2, and so as I select the song, as it's selected, not when I play it, but when it's selected, it will send a MIDI patch change. If you need to use MIDI banks, we can specify the high and the low banks as well. If you don't know what that means, you probably don't need it. But what it will allow you to do, for example, is if you've got a guitar pedal board or keyboard, you can automatically send patches, a patch change, so that your guitarist has the correct patch selected for that song on his pedal board before he starts playing, so that you're not waiting for him to sort of tap dance around. You know who I'm talking about, Nick. It's one less thing to go wrong. It's one less hold up between songs when you go, hey, one, two, and the guitarist like, or the keyboard player's like, hang on a minute, everything's automated, everything's fast and snappy. The final option, which I'll probably have to talk about in another video because it's massively complicated to actually use. It's very simple. It's very simple in the app. Actually setting it up and using it is a faff. Is the MIDI file. So we can just select, if you select file, we can just select the MIDI file. Music, where are we going to go? 9-ish. MIDI. And we just select, we can just select the MIDI file. And now when we press play, that MIDI file gets played out to one of the MIDI outputs. And this, we can select the MIDI destination. Because this is going to potentially send a lot of data, we only send this to the output that you've selected. Okay. Now, why would you want to do this? And the obvious answer is the wrong answer. The number one answer is, well, because so I can sort of like play MIDI sequences back. It's like, don't do that. I remember doing a gig with and the opening band had dragged out every synth they owned and had them all networked up with MIDI and sequences driving everything live. And effectively, they pressed the button, and all these instruments performed for themselves automatically. Don't do that. If you just want to play audio back, then mix it. Do it in the studio. Mix it down to a backing track and play the backing track. Nobody cares that your sequence is actually playing back in real time off a vintage QX1. It's going to sound exactly the same as if you played it all back in the studio, and it's going to take you 1/100th of the time to set up, and it's going to be 100 times more reliable. So what do we want to do this for? Well, the two reasons we want to do this are: one, automation. If our guitarist, his pedal board, mid-song, he presses the pedal to do his solo boost, and at the end of the solo he cuts back down to his regular sound again. Then basically just put those program changes into a MIDI file and they will play back in sync. Alternatively, if if you've seen my other video about using MIDI with my lyric book, you can integrate page turns into here, so you can send page turns to my lyric book so that your lyrics will page turn or scroll at appropriate points in the song. You see, the drummer in my 80s band does that all the time. But the main reason we're going to use it is for lighting. Basically, there isn't a good standard for DMX recording, but there are boxes like this. Okay, this is mirror image. You can't see what it says, but I will tell you that this is the DAW MIDI to DMX interface, and basically it's got a USB interface on the back. Plug that in your computer, it'll receive MIDI, and it will output 1,024 channels on 2 universals of DMX. Costs about $100. It's a great little box. So what you can do is you can program all your lights in your MIDI file. This will play the MIDI file back in sync, and so everything's pre-programmed. You press play, and your entire light show goes off as planned every single time. I say, actually doing that's a bit fiddly. I will hopefully find time to go through that and demo that at a future video. The only other thing you might want to watch is, of course, in the same way as we have to offset our video timing, we are going to have to offset our MIDI file time. We may need to offset our video file timing depending on how you programmed it, because it may or may not include the click. Okay, so that's it really. We can play that. This is the bit. That's the basics of playing back MIDI files and video files inside my Playback. Okay, thank you. See you next time.